Hey friends, today we are going to be learning about parts of a clock and telling time to the hour and half hour. So let's first take a look at the different parts of the clock. There are two hands on a clock, a long hand and a short hand. The short hand is the hour hand. Wherever the short hand is pointing is what hour it is. The long hand is the minute hand, and wherever the long hand is pointing is going to indicate how many minutes past the hour it is. In order to do this, however, we have to count in a different way. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Now we need to know that in every hour, there are 60 minutes. If you work your way around a clock, you will see that you can actually count all the way to 60. If you work your way to each number on the clock, you will notice that it is counting by fives. So in order to work our way around the clock, we skip count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Now, since there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, there are 30 minutes in a half hour. You can see here I've taken the clock and I've cut it in half, and you can notice that in half of this circle we have 30 minutes. So all the way from the 12 to the 6 equals 30 minutes, or a half hour. So what does this look like when we're telling time? Well, once again, our shorthand is pointing to the hour, and whatever number the shorthand is pointing to is the actual hour. So right here we see that the shorthand is pointing to the 3, which means it is 3 o'clock. Now, our longhand points to our minutes. And again, on a clock, there's a different way of measuring minutes than what you would normally think. In your mind, you might think right now that this says 3:12, that the time right now would be 3:12. But that's not the case. The reason for that is because the 12 is actually 0 minutes. This is the beginning of where we count our minutes on a clock. Our 1 is our 5-minute mark. Our 2 is our 10-minute mark. Our 3 is our 15-minute mark. Our 4 is our 20-minute mark. Our 5 is our 25-minute mark. Our 6 is our 30-minute mark. And our 7, 35 minutes. 8, 40 minutes. 9, 45 minutes. 10, 50 minutes. 11, 55 minutes, and right back up to that 60. Because remember, there are 60 minutes in each hour. Let's watch how this works as we move the minute hand around the clock. Watch what happens with our hour hand, our short hand, as we move our long minute hand around the clock. You notice that as we move our long minute hand around the clock, our hour hand slowly gets closer and closer to the next hour. And by the time we reach the 12 again, we are back at our next hour. So we moved all the way from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Let's watch that again, and this time we are going to stop halfway. So halfway between going from our 12 back to our 12 is going to be to stop at our number 6. Let's see what happens when we do that. Again, keep looking at that short hour hand. When we get to the 6, which is our halfway point, we will notice that our hour hand is now halfway between 4 and 5. This means that it is now 4:30. Let's go ahead and carry that back up to the 12. By doing this, we are going another half hour or 30 minutes. When we get back to the 12, we are going to see that we are now all the way at our 5. So we have traveled 30 minutes or 1/2 hour, and that has now taken us up to the next hour. It is now 5 o'clock. Let's make it 5:30. What do we need to do? Do we need to go all the way back to the 12? No, that's right. If we went all the way back to the 12, we'd be to our next hour. We would be to 6 o'clock. Let's just go halfway. Let's travel down to the 6 with our minute hands. And there we are. We are now halfway between 5 and 6, so it is 5:30 because, once again, there are 30 minutes in a half hour. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So once again, let's review the parts of the clock. Remember, the shorthand is the hour hand, and it is going to point to whatever hour it is. Our long hand is the minute hand, and it travels around the clock, getting us to our next hour. When it reaches the halfway point at 6, it is halfway to the next hour. And since there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, the halfway point is 30 minutes. So here, as we're back at our clock, we see we are at that halfway point of 30 minutes. We left off here at 5:30. In order to get to 6 o'clock, what will we need to do? That's right. Let's move our minute hand all the way back up to our 12 and take us right up to 6 o'clock. So remember, friends, we have our long hand, which is our minute hand, our short hand, which is our hour hand. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour, and there are 30 minutes in 1 half hour. Thanks for learning about the parts of a clock today and how to read time to the hour and the half hour.